It's 1997, and Biggie will die in May of this year. There's an MPC-60 on a table right there. This is a production room where Biggie's in. This is one of his last sessions in New York before he goes out to California. He's going to do some tracks here, working on some songs. And of course, he's got his joint right there and a couple of guys with him. And you'll see here an SB1200 and an S950. It's still 1997, and EMU is still making the SB1200, but something happens. A company called Sequential Circuits decides to buy the company, and they don't want to make the SB1200 no more. They don't care who's buying it. They refuse to make it. So anyway, the guy that helped design it didn't like staying there, and he moved on. He got hired by AKAI, and they didn't even know he's the guy responsible for the SB1200. So anyway, he suggests to them that you should make a brand new machine. Now, they already had the MPC2000. They said, nah. He says, look, what you hired me for? You hired me to actually do research. And the research shows you need to make the machine. Then they agree. AKAI makes the MPC2000. They sell 10,000 copies in the first year. It's the largest selling item they've ever had, the biggest. They make $15 million on a suggestion from Marco Alpert. And he's the guy that created the SP1200 for EMU. And they didn't even know they hired him. Dumb luck. The year is 2000. They're going to sell the MPC2000XL this year. It will make more sales than the MPC2000. And here it is, the AKAI Professional MPC2000XL. This machine is the largest selling MPC AKAI has ever made. It is so popular that they keep making them even after they launch the MPC 4000. They make a brand new MPC 2000XL, but supercharged with even more stuff inside of it. This is the top-selling machine in the world as a drum machine sampler and can be found used everywhere. They improved it too. They brought back the flip screen, which everybody wanted anyway. It helps you to view when you're sitting down working on a project. They even added some buttons to here. Now there are bank buttons just for banks. A, B, C, and D. They're right there on the MPC 2000XL. On the front, of course, they got the floppy disk. In this picture, you'll see somebody created their own front, which I always prefer to do because the other front is too flimsy. It's good to have a good solid front of your machine to hold your floppy disk in. But it's solid. It's the top-selling machine, and that's why you see them everywhere used. Now here's the back of the machine. They still took a lot of stuff out of it, but you can always buy to put it back in if you need to have the 8-outs. Some guys are just at-home producers, but you can get the 8-outs, which are right there. And with the 8-outs comes the digital input and output. And you can get SMPTE 2 as well. Now, of course, the MIDI setup is the same. You've got the 2 MIDI outs and the 2 MIDI outs and 2 MIDI ins. And of course, there's a SCSI connection for a hard drive. You can install it yourself, the 8 outs. Here's a little video of someone doing it to give you an idea that anybody can install the 8 outs. It's pretty simple. You screw it back in, put it on the frame, close it up, and you're good. You can also install the effects card. It goes right there, and it's easy to screw in. Now, this is the IB-208P, the 8-output card that also has the digital in and out on it. It sells for about $195. I wouldn't spend more than $230. Here's the effects board, the EB board. You can get it maybe for $100 or maybe $2, but look for it and be careful. Make sure it works properly. Next, you may want to use SMPTE timecode, the timecode lock, with film or something. This is about $150 and it installs easily. Let's look at the specs now. The polyphony is 32 voices. The sampler is 16-bit, 44.1, and it's stereo. dynamic filtering with dynamic resonant low pass filter. We have memory for sampling, which is 2 megabytes. You can increase it to 32 megabytes and get yourself 6 minutes. And also, it can do 128 samples max. The keyboard, of course, or actually the pads, which act as a keyboard, are 16 pads. They're really great. They're those classic MPC pads. You got 20 songs. You can do 99 sequences. You can do 64 tracks. And you have 100,000 note capability. 100,000 notes is amazing. That's really great. So, a great memory, great software. It's awesome. In the AKAI MPC2000XL, they brought a brand new software. This is the first time in an MPC you can actually see the waveform. It was never in any other MPC. And from this point on, every MPC will have a waveform for you to check out. You can also do time stretching here, as you can see. I can match BPMs. In this case, it's processing, and once this is over processing, it'll give you the same tempo that you picked, which has never been done in MPC until the MPC2000XL. You can see I have zones picked out here. There are zones picked, and I'm going through each zone. So I can set up samples, pick zones of, let's say, a loop, pick a kick or snare drum or whatever, and I can pull it out, or a bass line. This is one of the best softwares they made for the MPC2000XL. And ever since this came out, every other MPC had the same software. Now this is Pete Rock. He's talking about how to produce someone at home or in the studio. Now what he's saying that he does, he'll play the beat first and let the rapper or the girl singer sing to it or rap to it first and get an idea if the tempo is going to fit them. They'll get through maybe a bar or two or maybe a verse or two. And then he'll speed it up or slow it down depending on how he feels, whether they feel comfortable or they feel like it's too slow. Once he does that, he'll take the samples and make sure the samples are sped up or sped down, so when he starts production, it just works. Now here they are in the studio. This is like Jay and Yeezy, and they got a beat that Jay's listening to. This is all made on an MPC 2000XL.